spent the entire afternoon writing out a video about what positions the Packers need to target in the draft. And then Mike Pettine's contract doesn't get extended. Just had to screw me over one more time, didn't you, Mike? Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to another episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. Why does this feel like the Dom Capers video I did a couple of years ago? Grossi, and today, just now, breaking news. Mike Pettine, whose contract expired, is not going to be extended by the Green Bay Packers, meaning that they are going to have to sign a brand spanking new defensive coordinator. Now, it just so happens, through my magical telekinesis, wait, that's when you move things with your mind, right? What's the one when you see the future? It's not telepathy. That's when you read minds. Feels weird on my head. We just put out a video a few days ago about should the Packers fire Mike Pettine, and what I basically came down to is saying, listen, statistically it looked okay, but I made the argument that the Packers have most likely seen everything that Mike Pettine has to offer, and it just wasn't good enough. Or as Fletcher would say from Whiplash, not quite my tempo. So while the last month or so was really good for Mike Pettine and that defense, the NFC Championship game, yes, they got turnovers in the second half, really just showed no adaptability, in which they never got any pressure on Tom Brady whatsoever and just kept sending 3- and 4-man rushes. And on top of that, they got torched in the first half. So all those things combined means that Mike Pettine is no longer on the team. I was happy to give him one more chance this year, but alas, good luck in your future endeavors, good sir. And so now the question becomes, who the heck do the Packers replace Mike Pettine with? And there's been some names that have been floating around, and we'll wind up doing a more in-depth video as the offseason goes on, because listen, folks, we got a lot of months without football coming up. But I will say that some of the names that have been popping up, and one in particular is Wade Phillips, who obviously didn't find a team in 2020. He is potential. He is obviously a veteran defensive coordinator. And I think he could do a nice job. If I'm going to be completely and totally honest, though, I kind of want a newer face, in which you had Matt LaFleur come in and kind of rejuvenate the Green Bay Packers and that offense with Nate Hackett. I think they could do the same thing with defensive coordinator. I'm actually excited to see who Matt LaFleur decides to pick, because I think that he's just going to pick someone who fits their scheme really, really well and what they want to accomplish. And as I have said, the Packers have the talent on defense. When you could have looked in previous seasons, you could have made the argument that the talent really wasn't there. You have a lockdown corner in Jair Alexander. You have great safeties in Darnell Savage and also Adrian Amos. You also have the Smith brothers. Let's see if both of them are still going to be on the same team. You also have Rashawn Gary, and you have Kenny Clark. So while there definitely are holes that are missing there, and they are going to be able to work with it in the draft potentially, I think that you still have a really great foundation with some key skill players. And so, honestly, there's really no reason that this defense shouldn't be really damn good. So we'll just have to wait and see if any names start popping up on the Packers' radar. Obviously, we'll cover it here. Most likely next week, we'll do a video on who the new defensive coordinator could potentially be and go through a list of names. But right now, Mike Pettine is no longer the defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. I know many fans are going to be happy about that, and I will say that it also speaks to what we talked about before, that Goody is not going to be the kind of guy who just waits for things to fail and gets really, really bad and overstays their welcome. And I think, honestly, that's a positive thing. He identified that Mike Pettine wasn't going to take him where he wanted them to go, and he's no longer with us. So I think that that's actually a really good sign for the Green Bay Packers and their organization. So I'm really excited to see where this team goes. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Who do you think we should be bringing in for DC? How do you feel about Pettine leaving? Let me know. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy, all social media, see down below. Check out Packcast on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack, go.